Those gleaming apples you tossed into your cart last week might be hiding more chemicals than you realize. The bright oranges and perfect strawberries lining supermarket shelves often go through processes that their labels rarely disclose. We've dug through every available report from American food safety agencies to pinpoint the 5 supermarket chains where the fruit has the most significant problems. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look for when choosing your produce, because the difference between a safe product and a questionable one often comes down to a single code on a sticker. The United States Department of Agriculture, which handles the commercial quality inspection of agricultural and food products, analyzed thousands of fruit samples from across the country last year. Their findings reveal a troubling trend. Nearly 1 out of every 4 batches of fruit at certain grocery chains fails to meet declared quality standards. Among the most frequently contaminated categories are strawberries, apples, grapes, and pears. The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, specifically focuses on detecting pesticide residues, microbial contaminants, and heavy metals. Their reports reveal that anywhere from 2 to 5% of tested fruit samples exceed the maximum legal limits for residues from agricultural chemicals. Federal alert systems also flag dozens of notifications each year about produce distributed across the U.S. containing substances like chlorpyrifos and cypermethrin at concentrations that violate federal guidelines. Coming in at number 5 on our list is Aldi. This German-owned discount chain operates over 2,300 stores across the United States, positioning itself in the hard discount sector. Their aggressive pricing strategy can directly impact the quality of the fruit on their shelves. 1-pound containers of strawberries sold under Aldi's private label brand generate some of the highest rates of consumer complaints for this chain. This low price often comes from sourcing from suppliers who offer lower-grade goods, resulting in a shorter shelf life and frequent instances of mold appearing at the time of purchase. Inspections from the USDA have uncovered numerous instances of improper labeling on apples sold in Aldi stores. The fruit was often displayed without the required information about its variety, country of origin, or quality grade. This type of missing information makes it impossible for you to make informed choices and is a direct violation of current regulations. Bananas sold under Aldi's store brand have also shown issues with the cold chain during testing. The fruit displayed accelerated ripening processes, indicating breaks in the controlled atmosphere during transport or storage. Consumers have frequently reported buying bananas that become completely overripe and inedible within just 1 to 2 days of bringing them home. Grapes imported from Chile and Peru and sold at Food Lion were found to contain pesticide residues, and shockingly, some shipments lacked the required phytosanitary documentation, confirming they had passed United States Customs inspections. The citrus fruits at Food Lion, including oranges, clementines, and lemons, are of particularly low quality. During the winter months, the fruit is often dried out, with wrinkled peels and a noticeably reduced juice content. This is a direct result of extended storage periods before they even hit the shelves, combined with improper conditions in the supplier's cold storage facilities. Our final score for Food Lion is a dismal 3 out of 10. Coming in at number 4 is Walmart. This massive retail chain operates supercenters all across the United States and stands out for all the wrong reasons in fruit quality inspections, especially when it comes to their premium and exotic produce selections. The exotic fruits sold at Walmart, including mangoes, papayas, passion fruit, and lychees, represent a particularly troubling category. Because of the incredibly long supply chains from tropical countries, these fruits demand precise temperature and humidity control to stay fresh. But inspections have revealed a different story. Exotic fruits at Walmart often arrive to consumers in an advanced state of ripeness, bordering on completely spoiled, which drastically shortens their shelf life to almost nothing. Organic apples sold under Walmart's store brand, Market Fresh Organics, were the subject of a USDA investigation, which uncovered instances of improper certification. Apples being marketed and sold as organic either lacked the required paperwork to prove organic farming methods or were sourced from suppliers who didn't even hold valid organic certifications. This is a huge red flag, especially since consumers are paying a premium price for these organic products, often anywhere from 50 to 100% more compared to conventional apples. FDA inspections also found excessive pesticide levels in Bartlett pears sold at Walmart. The pears imported from Chile and Argentina contained residues of fungicides used to protect against scab and other fungal diseases, with concentrations that exceeded legally permissible limits. The sweet and tart cherries offered at Walmart during the summer generate a flood of customer complaints. Stone fruits are especially sensitive to storage and transport conditions, and even minor physical damage can lead to rapid spoilage. Audits have shown that cherries at Walmart frequently show signs of fermentation and rot, a problem that is especially common in the bottom layers of the packages. Furthermore, USDA inspectors found significant irregularities in the labeling of plums sold at Walmart. The fruit was being sold with no information about its quality grade, or was incorrectly assigned to a higher grade than it deserved. Plums with visible damage and discoloration were being passed off as Grade A, number 1 quality produce. The final score for Walmart is a meager 3.5 out of 10. Now for number 3, Kroger. This chain, which is part of a major international retail group, operates over 900 stores across the United States in a large supermarket format, offering a vast selection of fruits, both sold by the pound and in prepackaged containers. But as it turns out, a larger scale of operations doesn't necessarily translate into better quality control. The loose, sold-by-the-pound fruit at Safeway represents a particularly problematic category. Inspections by agricultural quality agencies revealed numerous cases of different fruit grades being mixed together in a single display bin, making it impossible for shoppers to assess the true quality of the products they were buying. Grade 2 apples were being placed in bins marked as Grade 1, and fruit with visible mechanical damage was being sold as if it were in perfect condition. The loose strawberries offered at Safeway during the summer were flagged in inspections for exceeding permissible levels of pesticide residue. Because of their porous texture and the fact that you can't peel them, strawberries are one of the fruits most susceptible to accumulating these chemical treatments. Tests revealed the presence of multi-component pesticide mixtures. And even though each individual substance might have been within its legal limit, the combined cocktail effect of all these chemicals acting together remains largely unstudied and concerning. USDA inspectors also found irregularities in the labeling of watermelons at Safeway. Fruit imported from Mexico and Chile was being sold without clear country of origin labeling, or even worse, with labels that suggested they were locally grown in the USA. This problem became especially bad during the preseason, when American watermelons aren't available yet, but customers are specifically looking for domestic produce. Both red and green grapes sold under the Signature Select brand, which is Safeway's own store brand, were the subject of commercial quality complaints. The fruit failed to meet the declared standards for size and uniformity, and packages often contained bunches with visible signs of drying out and losing their firmness. Another major issue at Safeway is product rotation in the fruit department. Because of the sheer size of their stores and their massive displays, fruit often sits on the shelves for far too long, losing its freshness and nutritional value. Inspections uncovered instances where fruit was being sold well past its optimal consumption period, even though it wasn't technically expired. The final score for Safeway is a 4 out of 10. And now for number 2, Lidl. This chain, also part of that same international retail group, operates over 900 stores in the USA and positions itself as a discount grocer that offers higher quality products than its competitors. However, the reality uncovered by FDA and agricultural quality inspections shows that this promise doesn't always hold true when it comes to the quality of the fruit on their shelves. The strawberries sold in 1-pound containers at Lidl were the subject of numerous consumer complaints, especially during their weekly promotional sales. Shoppers have filed complaints about buying containers where the bottom layer of fruit was already moldy or rotten, while the top layer was staged to look perfectly appealing. This deceptive practice of hiding lower quality fruit beneath a layer of pristine ones is a clear violation of consumer rights and has triggered interventions from consumer protection agencies. A marketing campaign called Taste of America, heavily promoted by Lidl, sparked significant controversy. Inspections by agricultural quality officials revealed that some of the products sold under this patriotic slogan weren't actually from the USA at all. This was the case with certain apples and pears, which despite having American variety names and suggestive packaging, were imported from other countries. This incident highlights a much broader problem: the cynical use of patriotic marketing slogans that aren't backed up by the actual origin of the products. The seedless grapes sold under Lidl's Italiamo brand were the subject of alerts from the National Food Safety Alert System due to the detection of pesticide residues far exceeding the legal limits. Substances like dimethoate and chlorpyrifos methyl pose a particular danger to public health, as they are known neurotoxins that can negatively impact the development of the nervous system, especially in children. Agricultural quality inspectors also found irregularities in the labeling of citrus fruits at Lidl. Oranges and lemons were missing the required information about the preservatives used to coat the surface of the fruit. Substances like imazalil, thiabendazole, and various waxes are commonly applied to extend the shelf life of citrus, but consumers have a right to know they're there, particularly if they plan on using the fruit zest for cooking or baking. Raspberries in 6-ounce containers sold at Lidl generate a huge number of complaints during the summer months. Due to their delicate nature, raspberries require very careful storage at temperatures between 32 and 36 degrees Fahrenheit. Insufficient temperature control in Lidl stores leads to the rapid growth of gray mold, known as Botrytis cinerea, which can contaminate an entire package within just 24 to 48 hours. Our final score for Lidl, a 4 out of 10. Taking the #1 spot is Walmart. This retail giant, part of the American-based corporation, dominates the American retail market with over 3,500 stores and a market share exceeding 20%. But its position as a market leader doesn't translate to uncompromising quality when it comes to fruit. Agricultural quality inspections have repeatedly uncovered irregularities within this chain, and consumer complaints about the quality of their fruit are among the most frequent in the entire industry. The strawberries sold under Walmart's own store brand are one of the most problematic products in their entire lineup. During strawberry season, particularly in May and June, shoppers report en masse that they've purchased containers filled with moldy or rotting fruit. The problem stems from a combination of factors: an aggressive pricing policy that forces buyers to source from the cheapest suppliers, inadequate storage conditions in the stores, and immense pressure for rapid product turnover at the expense of quality control. Inspections by the USDA at Walmart stores have uncovered numerous cases of improper labeling regarding the country of origin for apples. Apples imported from Mexico, Chile, or other countries were often presented to customers as American-grown products. This is a direct violation of the federal country of origin labeling law, which establishes detailed rules for the fruit and vegetable sector. This problem became especially widespread after certain trade disputes flooded the market, with producers desperately seeking new channels to offload their surplus inventory. Grapes offered at Walmart regularly appear in reports for exceeding the legal limits for pesticide residues. Grapes imported from South America and other regions often contain chlorpyrifos, cypermethrin, and other active substances in concentrations that surpass the limits set by the FDA. Food safety alert systems have flagged numerous notifications concerning batches of grapes distributed by major retail chains in the United States, including Walmart. Inspectors also identified issues with Golden Delicious and Gala apples sold in Walmart stores. The fruit, often labeled as Grade A, frequently failed to meet the requirements for that quality category, showing mechanical damage, discoloration, or immaturity that exceeded acceptable standards. The price difference between Grade A and Grade B apples can be as high as 30 to 40%, making such deceptive practices particularly harmful to consumers' wallets. An additional problem involves the bananas sold under Walmart's own store brand, with customers reporting that they ripen prematurely and spoil incredibly fast. This is often the result of breaks in the cold chain during transport and storage, which accelerates the enzymatic processes in the fruit and drastically shortens its shelf life. Our final score for Walmart is a 3 out of 10. Beyond the pesticides used in the fields, fruits undergo a series of chemical treatments after they're harvested. These treatments are meant for preservation, to add a shine, and to protect them during transport, but they are not always declared on the labels. According to FDA regulations, the packaging for citrus fruits must list any preservatives or chemical substances used in post-harvest treatments. But this rule doesn't apply to fruit sold loose, and supermarkets often ignore this obligation even on prepackaged products. The most commonly used substances are waxes. These include food-grade additives like beeswax, candelilla wax, carnauba wax, and shellac, which give the fruit that appealing, glossy finish. But there are also fungicides used as preservatives, such as thiabendazole and imazalil. When fruit is treated with imazalil, the label is supposed to include a warning that the peel is not edible, but this critical information is often missing. The real problem is that we actually use citrus peels in the kitchen all the time, for zesting and garnishes. If they contain fungicide residues, those chemicals go directly into your food, and no amount of washing is going to get them out completely. To help you navigate the produce aisle, here are 10 practical tips for choosing better, safer fruit. 1. Always look for the PLU code on the sticker. This is a global system used to identify how the produce was grown. If the code starts with a 9, the fruit is organic. If it starts with a 4 or a 3, it's been grown conventionally, likely with the use of pesticides. 2. Always read the full label and look for the country of origin, which is required for fresh produce. Don't trust vague descriptions like product of multiple countries or simply imported. You want to see specific information, like whether it came from the USA, Mexico, or Brazil. 3. Check for any information about post-harvest treatments. On citrus fruits, growers are supposed to disclose if they were treated with waxes or fungicides. If there's no information listed, but the fruit has an unnatural, high-gloss shine, it was probably treated and the company just decided not to tell you. 4. Really look at the fruit, even through the packaging. The color should be uniform and look natural for that type of fruit. If you notice some spots are way too shiny or the colors seem unnaturally intense and vibrant, that could be a red flag for chemical treatments. 5. Pay attention to the price. Fruit being sold for suspiciously low prices, like apples and pears for under $2 a pound, or tropical fruits for under $3 a pound, most likely comes from massive factory farms with the absolute lowest standards. A price that seems too good to be true is almost always hiding a problem. 6. Whenever you can, choose fruit that's seasonal and locally grown. Produce that grows naturally in its proper season requires far fewer chemical interventions to thrive. That's why apples in November are a great choice, but strawberries in January are probably best avoided. 7. You have to wash all of your fruit, even if it's organic. Use cool, running water at a minimum, and if you have time, let it soak in a bowl of water with a little baking soda for a few minutes. This helps reduce the residues on the surface. But remember, it won't do anything for the chemicals that have already seeped into the flesh. 8. Shop at farmers markets and buy directly from local producers when you have the option. A shorter supply chain means there's much more transparency, and you can often talk directly to the person who grew the food. 9. If you're buying fruit where you eat the skin, like apples, pears, and peaches, always go for the organic option. The difference in price is absolutely worth it when you consider the dramatic reduction in the amount of pesticides you and your family will be consuming. 10. Try to avoid pre-cut and packaged fruits.